8 this morning in Redcliffe, Australia. We're in Queensland, southeast Queensland, and it is 11 degrees outside. The car says that. I have a scarf on and a jacket on because it's cold. Oh my gosh, there's no clouds. No clouds. It's literally going to be a straight sunrise, guys. All right, we have 2 minutes. 2 minutes to get to the beach. We're literally going around the roundabout. We're nearly there. We just got to find a park. Lots of other people have got the same idea. They're at the beach too, trying to see the sunrise. We're nearly there. We're nearly there. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's get a park. 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute. Will we make it? Will we make it? Will we make it? Will we make it? Okay. Okay, let's stop dramatising, Dora. All right. Power off. Whoa, 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 whoa. All right. Yep, we just got it. We just got it. Hey, Springtrap, how you going? You're about to see the sunrise. Did you see the sunrise this morning where you live? Okay. Yeah, you're like 2 hours in front of Queensland, aren't you? So it must be, or was it 3 hours? It's 6:38 here. So what time is it in Perth, Springtrap? All right, I'm gonna put this phone down so you guys can watch the sunrise. Morning. Morning. Gotta make sure you got the right way, hey? There you go. Here it comes, guys. Here it comes. There we go. Can you see it, guys? Can you see it? Oh my gosh, it's beautiful. Enjoy the sunrise. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed that. So we've got the local council tractor. It kind of rakes up all the sand, makes it all nice and pretty for the weekend, which is nice. Springtrap, I thought you were in Perth. Well, guys, that was gorgeous. I needed to see that this morning. I had such a nice sleep last night, guys. I hope you guys did. Oh, you're in Tasmania. That's right. Yeah, sorry. I don't know why I thought you were in Perth. Someone I was listening to was in Perth, talking to. Tasmania at the moment. Springtrap. I'm complaining in southeast Queensland it's cold. I've got a scarf on, a hat on because it's so cold. Not because it's sunny, but just to keep my head warm because it's cold. My hair keeps my ears warm and I'm sooking. So how is it in Tasmania? Because I bet you it's colder down there in Tasmania. All right, guys, let's walk. You get to watch the sun rising while I walk. Okay, so we've got our bucket. We're carrying some water with us because we should always be drinking more water. Actually, I'm going to drink some more water now. You guys listen to that. I bet you it's very cold. It can be snowing in November even in Tasmania. Hey, Deborah, good morning. I always like to show my face. Good morning, Deborah. How you going? Sorry, I'm just having a water stop. It's me in the sunrise. Hi, Deborah. How you going? In Iowa this morning. Now, I know I got that one right. No, sorry. Deborah, you're from Spring, Texas. Now I remembered, okay? I got Springtrap wrong. I thought he lived in Perth, but he's actually from Tasmania. So how international are we? We've got me in southeast Queensland watching the sunrise. We've got Springtrap in Tasmania, which is the bottom of Australia, where it's freezing cold, and I shouldn't be sooking thinking it's cold here. Though the car did say 11 degrees, so it's cold. And then you've got Deborah in Spring, Texas. Now, Spring, Texas would be quite, I don't know, like I think in winter it'd be quite cold, but not Canada cold. You guys would be quite hot there at the moment in Houston. You're not in Houston. How far are you from Houston? Did you say you were like 2 hours from Houston? So guys, if you can see there, we've got the swimmers. I showed you on a couple of lives a couple of days ago, the local swimmers. There's quite a few of them this morning, and this guy, he's a woman. He was right out the front, and there's two of them there. There's a race on, guys. How beautiful is that? So they're in wetsuits because, yeah, I'm sure that water's a bit cold. Morning meditation. Oh, hello. Motivation with Marie. Hello, Marie. Hey, Marie. How you going? Thank you for your meditations. You know how, divine timings, serendipitous. Like, obviously, I was meant to find your meditations. And, well, obviously, and then, you dropped on that live one day. And I was like, right, that's reminded me. I needed to do some of your meditations. So, and your meditations have been amazing. I've done 4 this week. That's amazing. I know I said to myself that I'd do 3. But I've done 4. Go me. So, Marie, I don't know if you've met Deborah. I think you have met Deborah in the chat before. She's from Spring, Texas. So, Deborah, if you're into meditation, please check out Motivation with Marie. She does these amazing meditations. They're guided for some are 5 minutes. I did one for 5 minutes yesterday afternoon in the car watching the sunset. And then I've done 10-minute ones watching the sunrise. So it's nice to have 5-10 minute options. It is 15-minute options even. I think there's 20-minute options too. So it depends on, how much time you have. So if you're interested, check out Marie. And Marie's got this soothing voice. She's got a UK accent because she's from the UK originally, but she's living in Spain. So she's got an interesting story how she ended up in Spain. And the Dora inside me loves interesting travel stories. So yeah, if you're interested in meditation, please check out Meditation Motivation with Marie. It's crazy, Marie, isn't it? Like, we're just the opposite scales. Winter, summer, bed, morning. Well, anyway, have a good sleep. Marie, I've got to say, I had the best sleep last night after my live yesterday being a little bit vulnerable, and then, just finishing off with a sunset last night, and then a 5-minute meditation of kindness to myself. Was so it was just so beautiful. And I went home, had a nice dinner with my partner Ben, aka Diego, gave him a big hug, squeeze. We had a nice, nutritious dinner, watched some, trashy TV. Actually, we're watching, I don't know if you guys are ever watched the series 24 with Keith Sutherland. It's many series, but yeah, it's actually quite captivating. We're in, I don't know, about series 4 of it. It's really good. So we watched that together and then went to bed. I went to bed at 8:30 last night. So that was really good. So anyway, I had a great sleep, woke up, and I got to see the sunrise. So have a nice sleep, Marie. Lars Osfraken. You're from Germany. Wiedersehen. No, that's goodbye, isn't it? What's hello in German? Wiedersehen. Wiedersehen is hello. Wiedersehen. I love Germany. Whereabouts are you from in Germany? I have been to, the Romantic Road area. What's it called? Rothenburg Tag. I can't do accents, okay. Beautiful walled village. I went there on my first European trip. I did this romantic road tour in one day, and it stopped at this beautiful walled village called Rothenburg Atu. I don't know, I can't say it. Rothenburg something. And I said to myself, and this is when I was 25 years old, I'm now 50, and said, I will come back to here and I'll stay overnight. And about 15 years ago, I went back and I stayed in that walled village. It was so beautiful to stay overnight. When the tourists leave, it's so beautiful. Like in any little village you go to, when the tourists leave, it is so beautiful. So, hi, Lars Osfraken from Germany. You have a special one dedicated to for your next sunrise. Oh, thank you. That might mean that I might actually have to get up tomorrow morning on my Saturday morning and watch the sunrise without a live. Just me and the sunrise and a meditation. Okay, looking forward to that. I'm selling you. Yeah. I do take commission, okay? I'm joking. You had a thunderstorm, Deborah. It gets below 30 degrees. You do meditation. Okay, well, if you haven't met Meditation Motivation with Marie, you need to check her out. Obviously, they're free guided sessions on YouTube. Yeah, the sunrise is at 6:38 at the moment, but this is the best time to see sunrise because in summer it's like 4:30 in the morning. So you've got Buckley's getting me up at 4:30 in the morning to see a sunrise. So this is my only opportunity, winter. So that's why I had to really kickstart myself this week. And, you know, you guys on the live have helped kickstart me, because I kind of say in my afternoon walks, okay, I'm going to do a sunrise walk. And, you know, I kind of like in my head, if you're going to meet someone for a walk in the morning, you know, you can't be late and you can't stay in bed and you can't be lying in bed scrolling, Dora. So that's why I'm like, get up. Alarm goes off at 6 o'clock. I do pick up my phone, groan and go, oh, I'm going to sleep. Quickly look at what's going on and get distracted. But that's my normal kind of routine. So this time I'm kind of just, yes, I'm getting up and I'm looking at my phone, which is, I've got to break that habit. But no, I've been putting my clothes ready to go in the morning. I've been getting everything ready in the morning, the night before, sorry. So that in the morning I'm not fussing around trying to find stuff to get out the door. So I'm kind of making it easier for myself and stress-free, preparing the night before to get out the door to do exercise. Yeah, I'm 50. I just celebrated my 50th birthday in Samoa in May, and that was a 2-week holiday that I had with Diego. And then, yes, I celebrated also by going to Europe by myself, my friend's wedding, and it was amazing. So 50 feels amazing, guys. I wasn't scared of it. I was just like, you can't stop it. I don't feel 50. Do I look 50? Oh, sorry, there's wrinkles there. It is very peaceful. Happy belated birthday. Thank you. Well, you know what they say. What is it? Oh my God, what am I just about to say? You're as young as you feel, or the guy you're feeling. Diego's 3 years younger, so I'm not 50 yet, okay? He's only still 47. So technically I'm 47, okay? And you know what? In my mind and in my spring, I reckon I'm 50. No, I reckon I'm 40. 40. Doesn't matter what I reckon. Can't stop it. I was talking to a friend yesterday. Yeah, go to sleep. Yeah, go to sleep. I'm gonna stop talking so you can go to sleep. So we're heading over to Lavender Rock. So Springtrap, I think you've met Lavender in the chat. She's also from Australia. I think she's from Perth. Actually, she's from Perth. So she named a rock. Well, she said the rock looked like a heart. And it does look like a heart, and I've never even noticed it before. So we're going to go over there because it's at the end of the beach, and I kind of kick the rock at the end of the beach. And that was a rock I've been mysteriously kicking for ages, and I hadn't noticed that is the shape of a love heart. So now I affectionately call it Lavender's Rock. So you see the big tractor marks? That's from the tractor. That is, oh, she's way down the beach now. So they dredged the sand. Not dredged it, I guess they kind of just make it all fluffy for the weekend. And it's a bit soggy down here at the moment because the tide's obviously just come down. That's why I always have older sand shoes that I use for beach walking because, oh wow, they must have just dug up some wood. How's that, hey? Yeah, I have old sand shoes that I've been worn to death and used for the sand. So this is my Love Heart rock, lavender rock. That's my kick to signify that I've hit the end of the beach. So from my heart to your heart to Heart Rock, sending you heart-filled love and light. And then we keep on walking back the other way. Oh, another bunch of swimmers are going in the water. They must have 2 lots of swimmers because one lot's gone ages ago and a lot's just walking into the beach now. You guys probably can't see that, but see they're walking into the beach now. Oh, someone looks like they've actually just got their swimming togs on. The rest of them they wear wetsuits. So there's one brave lady there. She's wearing swimming togs. She's obviously English. That's just a joke that, English people, when they come to Australia, like even summer, winter, they're like, oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. Because, it's cold over there. Ah, Deborah. So you're half Danish. Wow, what an experience. Whereabouts in Denmark did you used to go? I've been to Oslo. Didn't really experience Oslo that greatly. I was there in summertime, but it was really, really rainy the day I was there. So I went straight to my backpackers and was in my bed freezing cold. Like this Australian me, I just love the sun. Anything cold, I'm like sooking. As you see, I'm wearing a hat and a jacket and a scarf. And it's probably about 12 degrees now. But the sun on my back feels beautiful. But I did end up going somewhere. I went to a place called Monklin. You got to say it right, but I'm not saying it right. Monklint or Monklin. You know how they have asterisks and stuff on top of their letters in Denmark? And that changes the pronunciation. But, us English-speaking people can't pronounce it. And they have these beautiful milky clay walls. And the water was, it's like a turquoise aqua water. It was so beautiful. It was cold. It didn't rain, which is nice. And I ended up being there on a weekend. And I was, only 25 at the time, I was young and naive and really didn't know how the world worked as much. And I nearly missed the last bus. And I was 2 hours out of Oslo in this remote little area. But luckily I got on the last bus. I think I had to run. Someone said, yeah, the last bus, you better get on it. So I think I just had to run and got on the last bus. So that was an experience. But you've been to Austria. Ooh, Austria. Austria is a beautiful place. I'm sure you went to Salzburg. Did you do you like Sound of Music? I guess it depends on how old you are, Deborah. Not everyone knows who the Sound of Music is. I had to introduce the Sound of Music to my niece. She's 7 years old. And she loved it. She's sitting there singing all the songs, Do a deer, a female deer, or the hills are alive with the sound of music. Oh, I grew up with the Sound of Music. I had, there was a couple of families of young girls. There was 2 girls in my family, me and my younger sister by a year and a half. And then 2 doors down, there was 2 other sisters. And then 2 doors down from there were 2 other little sisters. So we used to all run around and play Sound of Music and watch Sound of Music every weekend probably, and then run around the street singing all the songs. So yeah, that was a charmed childhood. And yeah, my niece didn't know about it, so I got the CD or the DVD and we watched it one afternoon, and then I gave her a copy of the DVD. Oh, hopefully she's watched it again. You mean to Sweden? To Copenhagen. Oh yes, of course. Copenhagen. Yeah, so Copenhagen is where Little Mermaid is. Yeah, of course. Oslo is in Norway, isn't it? I'm just confused now. Where's my science? Where's my geography? Yeah, you're right. Copenhagen. You know, you're half Danish. So obviously I have not had a good experience in Copenhagen. Not having a good experience, but it was raining. And they've got that really interesting... Did you go to... My mother was one of the two designers of Long Arn Kran. I don't know what that is. What is that? It's interesting. Sounds interesting. Yeah, I've seen The Little Mermaid. There was a little place called is it Christians? Christiana? There was some kind of little alternate little town in Copenhagen where they say they're not part of Denmark, and obviously there's probably a lot of drugs there too. But it's supposed to be quite hippie-like. I didn't end up getting there too because again it was raining. But that's a place that I really wanted to check out. Do you know the place I'm talking about? Redcliffe, Austria. Donberg, Austria, and yes, Oslo. Okay. Oh, wait on. You're just saying you went to Copenhagen. So Copenhagen is in... Oh my God, where's my geography? God, my brain's frozen this morning. Hey, look, there's a nice pelican. All right, we're going to check out pelican, okay, guys? How beautiful is that this morning? So beautiful. So the other lot of swimmers are out there. They're going to catch up with the other group of swimmers. Actually, the other group of swimmers look like they're coming back. So you've got them coming back and then you've got them going through. All right, here's a little pelican. I love watching the pelicans. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Here comes the tractor. I think that's a great service that they do. So that on the weekend, it's, you know, it's really nice and the sand is nice and fluffy. Not that, you know, we're lying on the beach. But still, you know, you can sit down on the beach. You might not be in your togs sunbaking. But see the machine, it picks up. Oh, watch it now. It's like sweeping the beach. What's the long crane, Deborah? Your mum said your mum designed the long crane. You mean like a crane, like that goes in the sky? Is that what you're talking about? They do look like a bit like swans, don't they? Okay, here guys, I'm going to show you. We've got two sets of swimmers. We've got the swimmers going south, and you've got a swimmer going north. See that one over there? So yeah, there's a lot of mad people that like to go swimming in winter. Good on them. I mean, I think I'd love to do it actually, to be honest. I love swimming. It's so therapeutic swimming. It's like, you got that, it's mindfulness. Like, you've got the strokes, left, right, breathe. Or left, right, breathe. Or left, breathe, left, right, breathe. Depends on how you do your strokes. Like, that's a long crane there. Is that what you're talking about? Maybe what here? Butterfly. Chicken explorers. Hello. Hey, chicken explorers. I loved your videos. I live in suburbia, okay? I live by the beach, but I live in suburbia. Like, you've got high rises getting built on the beach here. I live about 5 minutes back in like a 500 square metre block. If you're in America, I think, so that probably doesn't make much sense to you, but it's not a huge block. It's just a house with a block of land. Anyway, I have 5 chickens. Have 5 chickens? I have 5 chickens and a quail, and they like run around the backyard, and they're so fun to watch. But watching your roosters are so cool. We're not allowed to have roosters here in suburbia because obviously we'd piss all the neighbours off. My chickens make enough noise. Like in winter, they cock-a-doodle-doo to wake up the other chickens. Say, come out, I want to, play. And when they lay eggs, they make a lot of noise. So they make enough noise. So a rooster would just drive everyone nuts. So there's a blanket rule, you're not allowed to have roosters. And then we have 1 quail. So I love watching your videos, and like, you've got some really nice roosters. So, hey Deborah, if you're interested in chickens, check out Chicken Explorers. I've been watching your shorts. They're so interesting. With you've got some beautiful roosters. Do you show them? Like go to the local shows and stuff like that, and get prizes for the pretty rooster. I'm in Brisbane, in Queensland, Australia, or just north of Brisbane, 30 minutes. But we have a show coming up. It's kind of like the main state show, and that is a great time to see roosters and chickens. So I love going down and checking out all the different roosters, and there's some bloody big roosters, like massive roosters. So yeah, loved you. Thank you for finding my channel. Thank you for finding my channel. I don't know how you found it, but thank you. I post about my alter ego, Dora, and how she wants to get to 80 countries. So I'm 62 countries in, but obviously I can't be travelling all the time, so I kind of document my life. At the moment I'm documenting walking on sand for a 30k walk that I'm doing for a charity for mental health. So I've been doing lots of lives in my process of getting fit to walk on sand, because 30k's in a day, which is about 22 miles in one day, in one sitting. Yeah, it's going to take about 6 to 7 hours. It's not easy. So anyway, I appreciate you dropping in and saying hello. They are just pets. I'm in New Mexico. Okay, New Mexico. Cool. So Deborah at Warwick here, she is from Spring, Texas. I don't know who else is in the chat, but I like to get to know where people are from. So Mexico, New Mexico. I've never been to New Mexico. I haven't done a lot of America, to be honest. I've just, flown into LA as most people do. And I've been to Florida. And I've been to New York. So yeah, that's all my geography on America is really. So they're just pets. But yeah, that's cool. I mean, mine are pets too. Do you have any chickens too? Did I see chickens in the background? I'm sure you have chickens. Ah, so Deborah, you've got chickens too. Oh wow, look at us. We've all got chickens. We have chicken families, chicken pets. They're very interesting to have as pets, hey. I've got these two, I can't remember their names, but we call them Big Berthas. They're huge. They're double the size of our other chickens. And they eat double the amount of food. And yeah, and then we have one blind chicken. So I did a live the other day from home showing my animals. If that was any interest to you. I'm obsessed with growing chocos. Just fun fact. And I did a video, it was a week ago actually, a live called Cooking Chocos. But I show you my chickens in the backyard. So if you're interested in that, in the first 5 minutes you'll see my chickens. And you'll see my chocos. Anyway, welcome. Always nice to get to know, people that you follow or you subscribe to. Because I find that when you're watching YouTube videos, you can watch, for example, I've watched Chicken Explorers videos, but I don't know where they're from. And, I don't know too much about them. Oh, look at this, guys. This poor little seagull he's missing his foot. I don't know if you can see that, but he's actually missing his web foot. But, he's living his best life. Sunning himself. I'm sure he gets lots of fish and chips. There's a fish and chip shop over there. So lots of people chuck fish and chips down here. But yeah, I've noticed this guy. I'm sure it happens quite a lot. They probably stick their foot in something that they shouldn't. And it got stuck. He's okay. He's sunning himself. All these other guys make lots of noises. They're actually very beautiful seagulls. I mean, I know they're annoying when you're having your lunch and they're standing in front of you trying to get food. Actually, Deborah, you were with me the other day when I was doing a live, when I was trying to show you my sea glass, and the seagulls thought it was chips or food, and they were diving down at the sea glass on my table thinking it was food. Was that you, Deborah? That was so funny. Oh yeah, check it out. You'll see my backyard. It's not huge. But yeah, what I said, you don't really get to know people in the comments very much because you can ask questions, but there's a lot of people that ask, comments, and sometimes you don't get back to comments straight away. And then when you get back to a comment, then I might not read your comment. So it kind of misses the connection. So I've been finding that when you do lives, you're going to get to know people a little bit more. For example, okay, you're getting to know a little bit about me, but I get to know you in the comments, and then I jump on other people's lives, and I'm getting to know them, and then from lives, I'm picking up sea glass. That's a fang. As you see, I am not very serious. I think that life, we shouldn't be so serious. I take I take the shit out of myself all the time. I swear too, guys, Us Australians do swear a lot, and we're very sarcastic. So a lot of people don't get that. And when they meet us, they're like, oh, can you be serious? I'm like, why be serious? Life is not supposed to be serious. Yes, we're going to pay taxes. That's guaranteed in life. And we're going to die. The rest of it is you make it up. And I tend to live my life obviously I have to work and do those things. I have to adult. But do we have to adult and be so serious? So anyway, that's me. I'm just playing the fool and having fun with it. and yeah, taking you on for the ride. Oh, Deborah, yeah, check it out. It was a week ago now. So go into my live list, and you'll see a video that says cooking chocos, and I'm holding up a choco. If you don't know what a choco is, check it out too. It's my favourite fruit. No, it's not a fruit. Favourite vegetable, and it grows so easily. I think actually I talked about it, Deborah, because I said in South America it's called, and in Central America and Mexico it's called chicote. Actually, I do remember having that conversation with you. Yeah. So yeah, check that out. It's quite funny. Yeah, it was you. I remember that. Yeah, now. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, Deborah, obviously, I don't. You know, you didn't find me in my videos. So, you know, generally I post about my travel trips or the hikes that I do here in southeast Queensland, or my adventures that I do around Australia, basically. So, you know, obviously I want to get to 80 countries around the world, but I also want to see my own backyard. You know, there's a saying that, oh yeah, we'll travel when we, you know, retire. But, you know, you'll be 67 years old to retire here in Australia, unless you're like an early retiree. And, you know, hey, you never know, I might become an early retiree, but I doubt it. I mean, I like working. So these are some new apartments that got built. They're about 2 years old now. So this area, Redcliffe, is quite a peninsula. It used to be quite, they used to call it a country town by the beach. We used to come here for school holidays. So I was born in Brisbane Hospital. I'm half Indonesian, as you can see, my eyes. I hate when people say I've got squinty eyes. I mean, they say it, but I know that, but things are a little bit, anyway. I have squinty eyes. I can say that about myself. So I'm half Indonesian. My mum's Indonesian, my dad's Australian. I was born in Brisbane Hospital. I've always lived in Australia, as in like, I've never lived in Indonesia. I've travelled to Indonesia quite a few times. But I was born here. But what I'm saying is, we actually went straight to the country. So about an hour and a half from here is a place called Kilcoy. And my dad was a school teacher. And he ran a education centre out there. And basically, yeah, we grew up in this country. So if my dad didn't decide to move, I could be married with 10 children, a grandmother. I could even be a great-grandmother. I could have rode horses and milked cows and made butter. Would have had a completely different life. But on school holidays, because my dad was a school teacher, he would take us to Redcliffe, where literally we are right now. He would take us here to school holidays. We'd have 2 weeks here on the beach. We stayed like in a place across the road from the beach. We'd run across the beach. And this is very flat here because there's an island out the front here. This is Moreton Bay. So there's an island there called Moreton Island. So it's generally very flat here to swim. So it's quite safe. So my dad, we used to come here for holidays. And then when my dad semi-retired, he took us to his holiday destination, which is Redcliffe. So effectively, I'm living where I used to go on holidays. So there's something kind of nice about that. And then I've always lived in this area. Redcliffe's quite a big peninsula. I wouldn't say, there's about there's probably about 35,000 people that live here now. Probably more, because now we're starting to build a lot more high rises. If you can have a look down there, there's a lot of high rises. Different areas here in the peninsula, there's a lot of high rise living. So obviously that's more dense living, more cars, more people can live here. But yeah, I have lived in other countries before, because, you know, the Dora in me is, you know, quite the explorer. Obviously, as an early age, I travelled. So my first country I visited was Singapore with my mum. My mum would take myself and my younger sister to Indonesia to show off to the family. You know, here's my two little girls. And she would dress us the same. So I've got photos of my sister and I'm a lot taller than my sister. And, you know, we're dressed the same, in the same pretty dresses, the frilly little dresses. My sister hates dresses now, hates it. And like her daughter is 7 years old and she refuses to put little frilly dresses on her unless she wants to wear them. So it's funny because my mum, proud grandma, all she wants to do is like, you know, kind of put her in frilly little dresses like she used to dress us. So anyway, yeah, at an early age, we travelled to Indonesia. So Singapore was my first country, then Indonesia was my second country. We'd also go through Malaysia sometimes, so that was my third or fourth country. Australia's always going to be my first country because that's the country I was born in. So, you know, if I'm counting countries, they're the kind of the first countries that I visited. So Asia is the first countries I got to visit. And obviously Asia is so much different to Australia by, you know, languages and smells and fruits and vegetables, culture, the temperature, the cleanliness, the vibe, everything. So, you know, as at a young age, that's so impressionable for, you know, a 3-year-old. And then I think I went when I was 5 or 6. So every couple of years we used to go, not every year. But yeah, just like you, Deborah, you know, you'd go to Denmark every 3 years. So it's very similar. So, you know, you can imagine, like for yourself, from America to Denmark, massive changes. What an experience as a young age. So, you know, very internally grateful for that experience. And like, you know, I'm sure Deborah, like, you know, what a kind of university or what a education you had by going to a different country like Denmark, opposed to your life in America. So even our dad made us go to school one day in the little village where my mum was from. So here's a bit of story time for you guys. It's a bit of sea glass. That's probably more rubbish, to be honest, but I pick it up anyway. So here's some story time, guys. So when I was about maybe 11 or 12, my sister's, as I said, 1.5 years younger than me. My dad said that, you know, you need to go to school one day in my mum's village. My mum's village is called Tanjung Marawa, which is Indonesia has many islands. So Sumatra is the biggest island in Indonesia, and a place called Medan is the capital of Sumatra, not the capital of Indonesia, but the capital of Sumatra, so to speak, the big town. So you fly into Medan, and then Tanjung Marawa is about an hour and a half, maybe an hour away in a bus or a ferry, cab or getting a lift. Anyway, so it's not a huge town. It's getting huger now, like when I first went. So this is the experience I had as oh, hey, Kathleen. How you going? So Kathleen, I'm just talking about being, my experience being half Indonesian, half Australian. And Deborah in the chat, I think you've met Deborah. She's from Spring, Texas. She's half Danish and, half American. And she also went to Denmark as a young age every couple of years. So I'm just talking about how educational that is, going to another country at such a young, impressionable age. And this is just a story I want to tell you about. When I was about 11 or 12, and my sister would have been, 1.5 years younger than me, my dad said, we have to go to school one day. So here we are in this little town. We can't speak Indonesian very well. I mean, we're not terrible at it because my mum used to take us for 3 months over summer holidays. So, when you're young, you can pick up languages so much easier. And, all my cousins speak Indonesian, like they don't speak English. So we have to learn. So, when you're playing, you learn the numbers and, all the different things, So my experience is we went to this school for one day. So here's me and my sister dressed in these frilly dresses. Like I said, like she used to try to dress us the same. By about 11 or 12, we were probably not wanting to look like twins because we're not twins. She's a little bit shorter than me. So we're wearing our own style dresses, but still frilly dresses, okay? Fully dresses. I've got a photo of it, okay, guys? I'll post it in the chat, okay, so you can see it. So anyway, so we went to the class and we stand out like dog balls, okay? like, I don't look Australian and I don't look Indonesian. So I'm like a mixer of, I don't know where I belong, so to speak. Like, people in Australia used to say that I look different, and then people in Indonesia would definitely say that we're not Indonesian. So like, we stand out like dog balls. And plus I'm tall, and a lot of Asian people are smaller, short. Like, I'm a head and a half more higher than my mum. So yeah, so anyway, so we're in this class. I can't remember the class of what happened, but there's a photo of it. Anyway, story time. In February, I took my mum back to Indonesia. So my mum normally goes by herself. She's getting older. She's about 76 now, and she hasn't been back for about 6 years or something like that because of COVID. So I decided to take her back, and we were doing a bit of a family trip. So my sister also came with her niece, her daughter, my niece. So it was like a girls' trip. Mum only has 2 girls. So, and then her little girl, which is her granddaughter, which she loves. I mean, we'll never know the connection of grandparents or mother connections, but I've heard that the grandmother connection is better than the mother connection or the daughter connection. If anyone in the chat is a grandmother, you probably confirm that. So anyway, I took my mum over, and then my sister came and we overlapped. Anyway, on that trip, I was getting a massage by some lady that, is known to the family and the friends there. And because, everything is a lot cheaper in Indonesia, like in Asian countries compared to Western countries, services are so much cheaper. So I can't remember okay, so for example, in Australia for an hour massage, it might cost $100, so to speak. Over there, it's like $10. So like, it's heaps cheaper. And that's $10 is probably putting a tip on it kind of thing. So heaps cheaper for services. So anyway, I was getting a massage because my mum was getting it and my aunt was getting a massage. So I thought, okay, why not? I'll have a massage. Anyway, she starts talking to me saying, now in Indonesian, there's many stories here, guys. Okay, so Dora is my alter ego, okay? That's my nickname. So my real name is Mutiara. Mutiara is Indonesian for pearl. So I couldn't say my name. I remember I told you I lived in the country, and it was hard for me to say Mutiara. I mean, I probably could say it, but my friends at school, it was just hard to catch. So when I went to school, primary school in Kilcoy, everyone called me Sophie. I don't know where it came from, but my nickname was Sophie. So all my family in Indonesia call me Sophie. So this massager lady, she's like saying to me, hey, Sophie, like this is in Indonesian. So I can understand it, but I can't speak it very much back very easily. So she's saying to me, do you remember I was in your class when you went to school? And I'm like, oh my God. So like, this is like 40 years later, right? I'm getting a massage by a girl that was in my class, and I obviously didn't recognise her. And she's like, yeah, I was in that class. So anyway, I happen to have the photo on my phone because before I left, I wanted to get some photos of like my friends that I used to play with in Indonesia. And I took the photos, the photo album, back in the day, photo albums, and took a photo of them. And I pulled up the photo, and she's like, and she enlarged the photo. She goes, that's me. Saya ini, which means, that's me. So I was like, how cool is that? Yeah, that's how you say it, Matt. Hey, Matt, how you going? That's how you say Mutiara. Yeah, well, that's how you spell Mutiara. So it means pearl. So I'm priceless, And when I was traveling, so like when you go to Indonesia, you have to travel through Malaysia or Singapore. Especially Malaysia, there's a lot of big resorts called Mutiara Sari. And Sari is my middle name too. So there's a lot of resorts called Mutiara Sari Resort, which means Pearl Resort. So yeah, I thought they were mine, but they're not. So yes, they have my namesake, but they're not mine. I should get a kickback, shouldn't I? Like, that's my name. Why are you putting it on a resort? So I haven't met many people that are called Mutiara because it's not a normal name. In Indonesia, it means pearl. So people generally don't call people by their, by that. But I have since met a mutiara, and I actually got to meet her. So how cool is this, right? It sounds Spanish. And okay, so there's many stories, guys. So growing up, when I came to live in Redcliffe, where I live now, we moved here when I was about 7 years old. So I started using my name Mutiara. So Mutiara. So tiara, mut. So you can imagine when I get called for short by the boys. The boys were very mean. So I'm very thick-skinned. I've been called many things. Mutti, even though it's still... Yeah, anyway. I get called Mutti a lot. Like my dad called me Mutti. My mum calls me Mutti sometimes. Mutiara when I'm, being bad. Or it's a serious conversation. Mutiara, I need to talk to you. But I also say Mutiara very fast, so I'm a bit of a fast talker. So Mutiara. So I kind of say it like that. So a lot of my friends actually think that my name is spelled M-U-D, or some people think my name starts with W. So it depends on, where I know you from and the connection to how fast I say my name. So it's interesting. So some of my friends actually, don't know how to spell my name. But obviously Facebook now, if people know how to spell names, because, you have friends with names, the actual full name. I don't use Sophie as my name, or I don't use Dora there as my name. But on social media, I use Dora and that's another story for another day. There's many stories, guys. So that's a bit about me this morning. So pretty funny. And so this is where I used to go on holidays as a young kid, as a young little girl called Sophie. And just to tie it together, when we used to come to this seaside little peninsula on holidays, we made friends with other families that were expats, so to speak, like my mum being expat, though she was married to an Australian. So back in the day, this area in Redcliffe didn't have a lot of, international people, but now it's very multicultural, which I love. But when we moved here, my mum started making more connections. So when we went on holidays here, she would try to meet other Asian people, because there's a thing like, when, you're not native to a country, you do feel a little bit different, don't you? And you want to be around other people that are probably not native also. So my mum joined some kind of Asian groups, and she made friends with Filipino people and Thai people. And one of those connections was a family that was, the father was German and the mother was Thai, and they had 2 little kids. So obviously we had 2 little kids, like my family had 2 kids, so we used to always go out as a foursome. So not foursome, but like with their parents, and then us 4 kids, we used to play around. I'm about to go get my car serviced, and the people that own the mechanic shop is one of those girls. One of the girls I used to play with as a, 5-6-year-old. So she still lives here with her husband and has 2 children too. So that's where I live, and that's why I like living here, because, people walking along here, they recognise me, they stop and say hello. And it's a friendly little place. A lot of my friends also hate that idea, to run into people they saw from school, but I love that idea. So that's why I live here. I love it. Obviously, I have moved away to other countries, which I have talked about. I used to live in Mexico for a time being of my life, in different times of my life. I've lived in Ireland. I've actually lived in America before Deborah. I lived in, and when I say lived, I'll say just for a short period. I lived for about 3 months in Cape Cod, in Hyannis. I lived in a resort called, what was it called? Hyannis Beach Resort. So I used to sell timeshare. So that's how I've kind of got to travel around actually a lot as in my 20s. I fell into selling timeshare and made friends with people here in Australia selling timeshare that were Irish and Scottish. So I went to, they flew me over to work in Ireland. So I lived in a place called Waterville in County Kerry, which is another little seaside village. About 2,000 people live there in winter, and it's freezing. The wind just goes straight through you. It was a very interesting experience, culturally and everything. And then from there I went to work in the States because we were selling an Irish resort in Waterville to Irish Americans. So the Irish Americans live in like the New York, Massachusetts, that area. So that's why we're in a resort working from that in Mashpee. Not Mashpee, yeah, Mashpee. In Hyannis? Oh, man. The Mashpee, Hyannis area on Cape Cod. And so that was an experience. And then it was an experience, and then it didn't really work. So then we ended up in Cancun in Mexico. So that was an amazing experience, and I made some amazing friends. And from that experience is the wedding that I just went to in May. That was in Lyon. So my dear friend Adriana got married to a French guy. She's been living in France probably for the last 15 years. And I had seen her probably about 12 years before I went to visit her when I was in Europe. So I met up with her and her new husband, or her fiancé at the time, in Paris. But they then moved to Lyon and got married in Lyon. And that was an amazing experience. Thanks for saying that, Kathleen. I like telling stories. I think, just sharing is caring. And if someone can get an interesting kick out of it, or an idea, or make them want to travel. Yeah, Matt. So, okay, story time on how I got my name, okay? I'm going to turn the camera around because I look a bit funny here, like it's a bit hard to hold it. So, story time, okay? For Matt, because he asked, how, you were thinking I got my name from Dora the Explorer. So I have. So I was backpacking about 15 years ago. I did a 6-month trip. I kind of did most of my bucket lists around a wedding that I was going to. So this is all connection, right? So when I was selling timeshare, I made friends with some Scottish people. And one of those Scottish people got married in Scotland. So I was invited to the wedding. So to fly to Scotland from Australia is mega expensive. So I decided that it would be more cost effective to do a round the world ticket. Now this is how my head works, okay? Now this is the trip that gave me my name, Dora. So it's all interconnected, right? So yes, I ended up going to a wedding in Scotland, but I made it a 6-month holiday around the wedding. So anyway, the end of this 6-month trip, I was in South America. And I was doing some tours. I normally, when I backpack, I do it all myself. I get a Lonely Planet and I organise it myself. I don't book tours, so to speak. But because I was travelling for 6 months to kind of places that were, okay, maybe 15 years ago, they were a little bit, they weren't as common. Like I went to a place called Myanmar, which is formerly known as Burma. And 15 years ago, it wasn't really a touristy place, but the Civil War had finished. And my mum was freaking out. All my friends were freaking out, going, oh my God, you're going to travel to this place by yourself. It's war-torn, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I did it by myself and it was fine, right? Because the war's not there anymore. Well, it's now, they've got a war there again, unfortunately. But when I was there, it was fine. But anyway, to pacify my family, more my mum and my friends, and mind you, I did have a boyfriend at the time. To pacify them, I said, okay, I will do some organised tours. So I had organised to do, and I've heard of Gap Adventures. I think that they used to be called Gap Adventures. Now they're just called the Gap, I think. I don't know, I'm not sure, but they're still going. I know they're still going. But they do kind of backpacky trips. So you're staying in kind of cheaper hotels with other people.
So like they're organised, you get a paid friend basically. You're paying for a friend to travel with you, really. And it's all local travel. So anyway, I was in South America doing a trip all through South America. I had done maybe 2 gap adventures there, back to back. So one through Peru, Bolivia, and that was an amazing adventure, like 14 days through there. And then the next trip was a trip through Brazil, Argentina, Chile. And in that trip to Brazil, we were in a place called, oh my gosh, what was that place called? It wasn't Rio de Janeiro. There's another, Sao Paulo. So Sao Paulo 15 years ago was definitely not a safe place. And, you have a guide, so to speak. We were about to catch a local bus down into somewhere near Rio. And they said, look, you can leave the bus stop if you want to, but we're recommending you don't leave the bus stop because A, if you're late, you're going to miss the bus and that will ruin your whole trip. We're not waiting for you. Or you'll get mugged or kidnapped or something like that. So don't leave. So we're like, okay, well, don't leave. So anyway, we were just sitting there playing celebrity heads, right, with a whole group of girls, guys too. So, and we didn't have the game, so to speak. We're just putting pieces of paper on our heads that, this is who you look like. So I had Dora the Explorer on my head because I always had a backpack on my back. And I still always have a backpack on my back, most times, when I'm out and about. So, and I didn't guess myself. I just didn't guess myself. And I took it off and I went, ha, 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 ha. Anyway, from that, they just kept on me, all my friends that I did the tour with, kept on calling me Dora. Hey, Dora, how long are you going to be? Or, hey, Dora, this. Do you want to drink, Dora? And it just caught on. So when I was riding home, on Facebook, as you do, sending photos of, where you're at, I would say, oh yeah, Dora's adventure today. So that caught on. And when I came back from that trip, I was in a local shopping centre and a girlfriend yells out, hey, Dora. And obviously that's not my real name, so I wasn't really expecting someone to say, hey, Dora. And then she comes up to me, hey, Dora, to my face. And I'm like, oh, hey, Kat, how you going? Blah, blah, blah. She's like, oh, you had a great trip, blah, blah, blah. And then she'd say, hey, see you, Dora. So people just started calling me Dora. So obviously everyone knows my real name is Mutiara, but a lot of my friends call me Dora. So when I was picking my handle for social media, I wanted to start a YouTube page, but I decided that it was just way too hard. I posted one video of going to Vanuatu, of volcanoes. If you're interested in that, there's one video, there's no editing, there's just me going to a volcano. It's pretty interesting, I think. But that's all. I just posted one and then was like, oh, that's too hard. YouTube's too hard. And then I went to Instagram. But, obviously Dora the Explorer has been taken by many people. I could have been Dora the Explorer number, 159. But I decided to go with Explorer because I used to live in Mexico, so I know a bit of Espanol. So Explorer in Espanol is Explorer, X-P-L-O-R-A. And then Dora being my middle name, my alter ego. And then 80 being that I want to go to 80 countries. So that is, long story short, how Dora got her name. Anyway, hopefully that entertained you. There were many stories this morning. And, stories are all interlinked. In Australia here, obviously the Aboriginal people are the native people of our land here. And they have a thing they call yarn time, yarning. So I had a yarn with you this morning, some yarning. So I apologise, I haven't really read the chat. And Matt says, please don't forget to like the live. Thank you very much for always saying that. And Deborah does the same. I think Matt and Deborah you've met before in the chat. So yeah, I am obsessed with volcanoes. I'm obsessed with many things. On my trip to Indonesia, I climbed a mountain called Mount Sibiak. Mount Sibiak. And that is a mountain, it's not hugely tall, and it's definitely not the mountain that someone just died off on recently in Indonesia. That sounds like it was a crazy trip. No, so I went on this other one. I can't tell you off the top of my head how high it is. But yeah, you climb up in the dark. So it is a bit frightfully scary. And yeah, it was amazing. So there is a short in my playlist, not my playlist, but in my shorts of climbing that mountain. I haven't made an actual video of it yet. Obviously, I have a lot of footage of that. It was a great adventure. I also went to Vanuatu, that I just talked about, and they've a volcano there called Mount Yasur. So it's a very active volcano, and it is like complete lava, the grumble, oh my gosh, it's amazing. I was so obsessed with the intense sound and the smell and volcanoes are like amazing. I actually went up 4 times. I went up at sunrise, sunset, through the day. I can't remember, maybe I went up sunset again. But yeah, that was such an experience. I stayed across the road from where the volcano is, and you could hear it erupting through the night. Oh, it was powerful. So like I stayed in like a homestay. So Vanuatu, especially the island of Tanna, where this volcano is the resorts are all around the coastline, but the volcano's nowhere near the coastline. So when I was there was no resorts near the volcano, and you just stay in homestays. So like I said, I'm a backpacker at heart, so I always stay in like cheaper places, because to afford to stay, to backpack for 6 months, the around the world ticket is cost effective. But, I had to stay in backpacker hostels and, eat very cheaply to afford to live for 6 months. And I'm not, my parents aren't wealthy. My parents are pensioners, and I don't have a sugar daddy. So, I worked 2 or 3 jobs all my life. I still have, 2 or 3 jobs currently, just to, afford life and to afford to travel. So I do things on a shoestring to be able to experience, more places and, different countries. So yeah, if I could definitely, you could go to Vanuatu and you could do a day trip and you stay at the resorts on the coastline of Tanna, and then you would basically 4-wheel drive in to see the volcano, and you can actually even helicopter in. Actually, one of my friends actually did. They stayed in the capital and then you helicopter in. But you're like, where's the fun of that, guys? Where's the fun of that? I mean, time permitted, obviously. If you don't have time, of course. But yeah, Tanna Island in Vanuatu is, wow, that was an experience. So I backpacked in Vanuatu for about 3 weeks by myself. I went to the island of Santos, the island of, what's the main island called? Can't remember the name of the main island. And then Tanna Island. So I went to 3 islands. And yeah, had to see the volcano. A couple of years ago, I also went to Solomon Islands. So Solomon Islands has a few volcanoes. So I did a hike to a volcano, and it was scary because it might not have been a high hike. It was only low, but you're going over, you're literally crisscrossing over boiling hot water that you can boil an egg in, and the steam was coming up. The walls of the volcano, so to speak, that we were walking into, like a crater, was like steaming hot. I'm sure, health and safety wise, if that was Australia, you would never be allowed to walk in there. Solomon Islands obviously is a completely different kind of place. Anything goes. If you pay money, you can go anywhere. So I don't know if I'd recommend it, to be honest. It was a bit hairy. But anyway, guys, we're back to my car. I don't know about that I'm brilliant. I think we're all brilliant. I think that I've said yes to a lot more opportunities. And hey, maybe I've not been responsible. I don't have children, so I don't have to be responsible over people. And like that trip for 6 months, I left my boyfriend at home because he didn't want to come. And most people said that was a bit crazy, but that's me, putting myself first. I'm selfish. I'm going to say that. That's why I never had children. Anyway, thanks, Kathleen. Thanks, Matt. There was Marie on. Yeah, she was on. She had to go to sleep ages ago. I don't know who else is on here. If if I missed something in the chat, sorry. But anyway, hopefully you enjoyed that little chat. I enjoyed telling you a little bit more about myself and how I ended up in this beautiful place called Redcliffe. And I hope you enjoyed the sunrise. Matt, you missed the sunrise. So if you want to see the start of it, go back and watch the start when I turn this off. And yeah, like my live, make a comment, it'd be lovely. I'll end it now, and if you can go back and make a comment on the live, that'd be great. Anyway, thanks guys. Have a brilliant day. Oh yeah, Chicken Explorers. They were online too. They were fun. Check out Chicken Explorers, guys. They do really cool shorts. They're from New Mexico, and yeah, they showcase their roosters. But honestly, check out Kathleen's place. She talks about her experience as a Gen X and, her journey through life, breaking up with her husband. She's also, suffering some chronic pain, chronic illnesses that she's working through, and she's going back into artwork, which is, helping her. And we're actually talking about doing a live together to do some artwork together. Because, artwork is a good reflection on our, creativity side. So anyway, if you're interested in that, that'll be a live one day soon. But anyway, love and leave you guys. Thanks for jumping on, guys. Appreciate you. Have a great day or evening wherever you are. Matt, you're in Cheshire. Chicken Expresses, they're in New Mexico. Catherine's in Swashawa in Canada. Deborah is in Spring, Texas. And yeah, Matt, you're in Cheshire. I think I've got you all. Anyway, see you guys. Bye.